on. It doesn't shine. Okay, so Heather here with Coco and Claire again. And we have our new metallic art gels. So there are 3: gold, silver, and a rose gold. So they're super thick. And I would suggest when opening them, they come with, I don't like being upside down. When you open them, they come sealed in a foil that's kind of hard to get off. It's on there so that they don't leak anywhere. But I would suggest opening them with a pair of tweezers because it's really hard to get off without making a mess of your fingers, especially. Okay, so we got the gold. And you might have to give these a mix up every now and then. They have a lot of pigment in them, so they might settle out just a little bit. There's the silver. And the rose gold. And the rose gold is more like that purpley pinky rose gold, not like the rose gold jewelry as much. And the gold is really nice. It's not like that super yellowy gold. It's kind of an in-between. So that is those. And then there's a few people that asked if they were similar to the spider gels. And the spider gels that we had a couple years ago. So this is one of the old spider gels. I'm just gonna give it a mix quick here. So they're similar in the sense that the metallic part is similar, but like the spider gels stretch, obviously. And not that these ones are thick, but they're not stringy and stretchy. Like see, like they are thick and but they're not stretchy like the spider gels. So that's the difference if you guys were wondering. So they're not the same at all as the spider gels, but the metallic portion of them is similar in tone or amount of metallic, however you want to describe that. Okay, so these are tack-free, which means that they have a built-in top coat in them, so they don't have to be top coated. You can top coat them, you completely can, but you don't have to. Move those off to the side. I got a few samples here. So I have my color on here and I have a layer of matte top coat. If you are not going to top coat the metallic art gels, then you need to top coat your nail first. So we have top coat on, cured. Then we can go in with our our metallic top coats. And you want to take like ever so slightly, like there's barely anything on my brush. This is the dual-ended detailer brush. And this is what comes if you buy the kit. So I'm gonna do a spider web. You just kind of pull it through and just make sure you're wiping off any excess. You want thin lines. You don't want a lot of product because you'll have issues curing. So you want to work super thin. If you get any little like collections of stuff, you want to pull your brush back through it so that you don't have any lumps of product anywhere. But like, see, I dipped in just barely, and I can make quite a few swipes on this nail before I start running out. So I'm going to cure this, and then it is done. It won't be tacky. It is completely finished because I have top coat on the color already. And then this cures tack free as if it was a top coat. So that is that one. And I'm gonna show you guys. So maybe we'll do the pink. So this is, I'm gonna show you guys what happens if you put it on too thick. Because it is so concentrated and so dense, it's hard for the light to get through just because there's so much metallic in it. So if you made like a dot, make a fairly big one here. And like, we didn't use a lot of product. I just took, you know, there's only kind of that much on the end. There's not a lot of product. Like you can see, it's super thin, but there is still quite a bit in there. And I'm gonna send that in for a cure, and then we'll come back to it and I'll show you guys why you wanna make sure that you don't have very much on there, because they won't cure very well at all. All right, so if you wanted a shiny background, same thing. I got my color on here, I got a shine top coat on, cured, and then you can go in with your metallic gels. Make any design you want. You can add some accents to anything you kind of want. We don't recommend using it for full nail coverage. I will show you guys that because I know someone will want to try it. So I'd rather show you how to do it if you need to than for you to have a whole bunch of problems. Yeah, you just want to pull. Like I want to make this line longer, but I have a fair bit of product in here. So I want to pull it through because I don't want to add more product on. I want to take some out. So yeah, kind of manipulate this metallic art gel as much as you can. So the thinner, the better. It's kind of the idea. And you can make it move quite a bit. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And you could do what, yeah, there's no right or wrong. You can do whatever you want with them. You can use your dotting tool. With your dotting tool, be very careful how much you pick up. Like teeny, teeny, tiny bit. You don't want to take a lot. Even like dot off your first dot. Like pick some up and then dot it somewhere once or twice before you go in. Because you don't want to have curing problems. So I'm gonna pick up, dot a little bit of it off. And if you want, you can cure it in between. Like if you got something that you kind of like, but you don't want to wreck it, you can definitely cure it now and then keep on going. So we got that. I'm gonna go in with my purple, or not purple, sorry, rose gold. If you want some teeny tiny dots, use the end of your brush. And give that, it is a 60-second cure at least. So on your little lamps, one press of the button, like on the little pink lamps, one press of the button is 45 seconds. So that means you're gonna have to do it twice. Longer the better. All right, so this is that blob that we kind of made earlier. So you can see he's pretty thin, and if he was normal gel, he wouldn't be a problem, but because he's metallic, I don't know if you guys can see that, but, and I can touch him because he's tack-free, but you can kind of see like it's denting in with my finger. That's because there's too much on there and he's not properly cured. So if we were to take a wipe with a little bit of cleanser on it and give him a rub, see, he's starting to come off. So he didn't cure properly. And see, I can wipe off like the whole thing just came off. So that's why you want to work super, super thin, because it will not cure properly, even though like this was in actually almost 2 minutes, and it just can't penetrate, and it will just bubble up eventually and wipe off in certain areas. Some of it will cure, some of it won't. If you do this and you give it a wipe and it does this where it wipes off, just give it a good clean with your cleanser and a wipe. Put this back in the lamp to cure. If you want to just fill in, cure this so that this rim is really well cured, and then go back in and redecorate inside. Or you can buff your nail and start all over again. Either or. But you have to get rid of that uncured stuff. It will not cure no matter how many times you put it in the lamp. And then if you want to do, if you don't like the feeling, like these ones, like they're all done, but it does have a texture to it because of course we don't have a top coat on top of the metallic parts. And depending on what kind of lines, like those lines are pretty slim, but these ones are bigger, like especially the dots, you can really feel them. If that's something that bothers you and you don't want to have that feeling, you can definitely put a top coat on top. So we'll take our gel. So this one, this tip only has color on it. There's no top coat on it at all yet. And if you did put a top coat on and decided to change your mind, you can put a top coat on after you put the metallic gel on. That's fine. We'll just do some little random lines here. So it is nice stuff. And see, like this line here, he's a little thick on this end, and I would be worried he wouldn't cure properly. So I'm going to take my brush back through him and pull some of that out. And I'm just wiping my brush off as I pull some of it out. Or if you want, you can make it longer. Pull some of it that way. I'll just put a little stripe of all three in here. I'm not really making anything. Just some random lines. I'm gonna give that a quick cure, and then I'll show you what to do with the top coat. While that cures, there's all three of them again for you. Oh, and I'll do a full coverage nail for you guys too, actually. All right, so now that it's cured, and let's say you want to keep it shiny, you can do matte also. These actually let's do matte, because then we'll see what these look like matte. So if you want your metallic gels to be matte, they can be. They just won't be as shiny. They'll look more metal looking than shiny looking, if that makes sense, but it's really pretty nonetheless. So same thing, just put top coat on as you normally do. Now the top coat is gonna sink into all the little crevices between each one. So we're just gonna turn it upside down for a few seconds, and that'll pull the top coat down so it doesn't pool in those little crevices between each little line that we had going. And then we'll pop him in the light. So we don't recommend it for full coverage just because it is super hard to cure. But if you're really insistent on doing it, take a brush. You want a teeny tiny bit, like tiny bit. Like there is hardly anything on my brush. And that's how you want to start out. Put it on and pull it as much. You'll almost be dry brushing it, but that's what you want to do. Just take teeny tiny bits at a time because you don't want to get any concentrated, and pull it super dryly across the whole entire nail. Like I took 2 teeny tiny bits and we got more than half this nail covered already. And you're gonna be putting a bit of pressure on. Like I'm pulling this tip actually. It's almost popping off its stand. I'm pulling it so much. But you can see how little I used. And this is a big tip. Like it's longer than my nail. And I hardly used anything. But you can see how full coverage, like you can barely see the stand underneath it, and that's one super thin coat. And like it's pretty dry on there. So I would give that a full cure. And then if you want it more concentrated, I would do that again, but super, super thin coats again. You don't want them to be thick at all, or it'll just peel off and you'll have a big mess on your hands. So there is it matte. And you can see, like, I can rub it and there isn't much for texture anymore. Most of the texture is gone. Yeah, there's matte. So they're still super pretty. They just look more that metallic metal look instead of shiny. Yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys today. So they are tack free. They can go on top of anything. They don't need to be top coated, but you can top coat them if you would feel you want to, especially if you want to make them matte. Just remember, if you're not top coating them, to put your top coat on first before you put on the art gel, so that you have top coat on top of your color, because in other words, your color will come off. So you still need top coat, but it just doesn't, it can go on before these art gels if you want. And then if you choose to do full coverage nail, just make sure you're dry brushing it super, super dry, like hardly anything. And yeah, you shouldn't have some issues. But yeah, that is the new art gels. And I hope you guys like them. They're super pretty and they kind of go with everything. So hope you guys have a good day and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.